right. That we should be live any second now. So, greetings and oh, excuse me. Greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey, and today I'm joined by Vector Maximus and maybe Dark as well, but we'll have to see. This is going to be a rather. Am I good?
Lightning round.
It's going to be a bit of a lightning round. Yes, we're gonna. I do not have a whole lot of time, and it's been rather tedious to try and get even two of us together in a call to make this happen. So, thank you all for your patience in there not being any of these for a couple weeks. We are quite behind. So, today we're going to be discussing cultural influence and art, apparently. So. This will be the first time I'm reading it as well, but we're going to be going through it faster this time. So, the importance, attributes of cultural influence and tradition. Cultural influence is the attack power of culture in the context of a culture war, representing how impressive it appears to other cultures and the reach it has beyond its own borders. It has a monthly increase depending on prestige, as some cultural buildings also increase, and it also increases upon the completion of a work of art, which
So first off, I really love the idea of this entire system, and it also makes me think of Vic 2, where you would literally just spam the prestige text in the hopes, when you're a tiny nation, in hopes of getting a bunch of prestige score so you can become a great power without having industry or military worth a damn. Just write all the poems, make all the paintings, and you're considered a great power. This is not that, but it makes me think of it a lot and makes me smile.
it's specifically it's fan of culture is streaming. Thank you for the welcome back, Evie. But yes, the way this at least appears off the bat, Vector, is that this is making me wonder. A monthly increase. This seems like it is affected by things like tech and prestige and such, but it does not affect it back. So it's mostly just. It seems like it is something that specifically is relegated only to the context of culture war. However, whatever that system is, though I can
Well,
imagine
they get
this.
into this later on, but the more
Yeah.
influential your culture, the faster you assimilate to it, and um, depending on your proportional power. So, say you have like 5 times the culture's influence of like the person you're conquering. So, because your culture is so influential, it has infected the other country to a degree, so they'll have less penalties to you occupying it and stuff like that. You start with better control and stuff like that. So to put a modern equivalent to it, it would be like, weird shit, but American culture is ubiquitous the world over. We would have a massive cultural influence. So as a result, if we turn up, you know, there's already the
Hmm.
McDonald's on the corner. There's already, American movies and stuff. So our occupation is probably going to go a bit smoother than, if I don't know, the Chinese or a random African country starts,
The first thing I was gonna say as an example is like, yeah, you go with like Morocco. Yeah. Morocco just suddenly owns Scandinavia. The difference between that and yeah, if the United States suddenly occupied the area for how because and as you're talking about control, if it influences that, then yeah, that makes sense as well because you can imagine with a place like the Roman Empire in history, that would be another example of something where um, over time, as they expanded, they were just known about, and as a result, people were much more. They had a reputation. It was much easier for people to just be like accept, integrate into their systems and such. But in, I guess the whole idea of a lingua franca plays into this, where it's a language that people just kind of know or think highly of as well. But I suppose that's going to be mixed in here somewhere. The cultural tradition I think they mentioned last time is the defense. No, cultural influence. Yeah, cultural influence is the attack, and cultural tradition is the defense. So, yeah, I guess that's another thing. Something you could compare it to then is the way that in civilization you have tourists and culture, where tourists is your cultural attack and culture is your defense. against and for culture victories. But English culture changes by cultural English influence of English culture. Which is by England, the Pale Whales. These are subjects? No. These are just people that have it? No, Wales, surely Wales' primary culture isn't English. The influence of the English is weak for now.
Actually, they mentioned it in the past because it represents the Marcher Lords, essentially, of Wales as a single tag.
Oh!
So its ruling elite are English.
Well, never mind then. Rest in peace, Wales. Wales exists as a country, but it is actually English, so they will be assimilating the Welsh still, despite the tag existing. Uh, Rest in peace. So then that is what this is. Yeah, it's just the amount of countries that have it as the primary culture. That's going to be very interesting when it comes to modding stuff as well. I had a specific culture that in mind that would have a lot of people that would have the ruling elite, the primary culture, actually be a specific culture that is not necessarily as ubiquitous across the map. So, um, oh God, oh God,
You
no!
got assimilated.
You won't get me to say it, Evie. Not today. Cultural tradition, outward societal value makes you have less defense, so I guess that gives you more offense. Yeah. Um, Yes, the defense power of a culture in culture war, how strongly the culture's traditions resonate with the people, monthly change depending on relevant buildings, but also the amount of art you have in your country. Art gives you more defense. Okay. The average literacy of your nobles also have a significant impact on your tradition as well. What is this? What is the use of this? Is partially my question. What, like, I guess we're going to learn about the culture mechanic. This is making me think I can only assume because the idea of having an offense and defense just because seems so weird that you'd want to invest in a defense. So surely this must mean that there's some sort of passive like back and forth between cultures assimilating each other regardless of who's in charge. That's got to be what this is about because there's no way that they would put so much effort into oh yes, you can invest a ton in your defense because you put why would you invest a ton in art if all it does is defend you if you are conquered? You're planning for success, not failure. You just never make any art. But I guess we'll see in a second. Tradition increases similarly, huh? To just like the amount of countries who have it. So it's works of art and just the amount of locations that have the culture, I guess. But then, yeah, interestingly, traditionalist societal value and outward value. So if you are traditionalist and inward, it just you'll have ludicrous amounts of defense, which is interesting. And I do love nested tooltips. Good, good. Yes, the primary culture of a country is the one benefiting from your art and nobles. All right, culture war. So what is cultural influence and tradition impacting then? Well, we have this concept called the culture war, which impacts several aspects of the game. For the part where culture is relevant, the cultural influence of the attacking culture is compared to the cultural tradition of the defending culture. If it's positive, you'll get bonuses, and if it's negative, you will face penalties. There are plenty of diplomatic actions where having a dominant culture Yawn. Yawn. Where the cultural influence of the attacking culture is compared to the defending. Yes, plenty of diplomatic actions where having a dominant culture is beneficial for the other country to accept your deals. Not to mention the fact that by building a spy network is faster if you have a dominant culture. And this sounds, yeah, I'm seeing lots of reasons that you'd want to have um, a powerful culture, but not as much as why you'd want to defend. Because if all it is like, oh well, the AI is more likely to reject you if they are defensive against your culture, or spying. It's like, well, in EU4 at least, spies are just like, well, let the AI spy as much as they like, kind of thing, and even players. So I'm curious. There are plenty of diplomatic actions. Also important that if you have some conquered land and want to integrate it, as if your cultural influence is bigger than their traditions, you will integrate the territory faster. And this is valid if you want to annex a subject as well. Good. You also assimilate to people, as Victor had said, yes, you assimilate faster if you have a higher cultural influence than the pop's traditions. There is also a small impact on sieges. Sieges, even! Okay. There are so many things that make it sound like it's incredibly good to be um, good offensively. But defensively, it's like, well, I mean, the siege defense, I guess.
We're more
But
sophisticated. Our siege technique is greater.
I guess. But well, welcome, Dark. Yes, I'm not seeing many reasons so far why you would care about defense. That's the weird thing. I don't see much reason why you'd care about having high cultural tradition.
Possible it might be easier to scale defense than it is offense. I don't know. Only thing I can think of. Because if you can't go on the offensive, then make yourself less susceptible. I don't know.
All that this is showing right now as like stuff that impacts the player is siege. It's like, oh, it's got a small impact on siege. But it's like, well, the player, I don't understand because right now this is making it sound like, okay, well, it increases your assimilation speed if you have more offensive and stuff. It's like, okay, I want to invest all my effort into that then, but I don't see any reason why I want to defend because it's like, well, if people are assimilating me, then it's, well, I'm losing and I'm planning for success, not planning for losing less badly. This is the same as being like, oh, the cultural tradition or the I'm already moving over to EU5 speak. The cultural tradition, yes. Hmm. But in EU4, having the national idea of like, well, people have to pay more to core your lands. It's like, well, great. People don't want to kill me as much because it's more expensive to core me, I guess. Just give the land to a vassal. Cheap small nation defense. Make yourself a less good target if you're hard to assimilate. That's fair. It could be considered similar in that same way as I'm talking about with the whole core creation cost. You could be less appealing because you'd be harder to assimilate. So if someone chooses to conquer you, then if someone is conquering the Italians, who are a high population and probably quite high cultural defense region, then it would be very difficult to assimilate them, and it would take longer to integrate the land. Doing the maps today as well? Not enough time for that, unfortunately. There's only some 10, 13 minutes before I gotta be out of here, so um, all right, cultural investment. One of the most important advances in the Age of Renaissance is the patron of the arts. This isn't early in on the part of the tree that requires the Renaissance institution, and it allows you to invest into culture. The cost of this depends on the size of the economy and how many artists you wish to employ. Okay. Spending money on the, but this uh, invest into culture. So just okay, both offensively and defensively. Oh, and possible amount of artists is a modifier. So there's an amount that you're able to have. Hmm. I suppose having vassals who can also get artists would be a good thing as well to a degree. I'm seeing lots of reasons why I want vassals, man. Boo can't stay. Well, sorry, Rain, to disappoint you, but I'm not staying for all that long either. This is going to be relatively quick. There's a direct impact from the investment you make each month on your prestige, as well as the impact of the skill of the artist and the art they make. There are some countries outside of Europe that already start with advances that unlock investing into culture. Ooh, I wonder who those would be. I mean, surely China. China's surely got to be one. Hmm. These are characters, yes, the artists are characters that appear in countries investing in culture, and they will spend their time creating new art or figuring out what they should create. They will also increase their skill over time, depending on how much money you will throw at them. If you get frustrated with them not producing new art, you can always commission art directly by throwing even more money at them. So there is always a way. Just throw money at the problem, and you will force your culture to improve. Various buildings and advances can impact the skill floor and ceiling of a new artist as well. I guess 85 is their skill. Don't know what the other symbols are, though. Lots of stuff going on here. Ah, I guess they've got dynamic art as well. I didn't think about that. But you got stuff like Saint Louis of Toulouse crowning his brother Robert of Anjou. And I can imagine based on that there's probably going to be some ability. Like this, yeah, as they say, this is an artist at game start, but I imagine there's going to be um, dynamically created art names like that. That is interesting. That is a papal artist that exists because the Italians to a degree have already started the Renaissance. I think they said. Yes, a historical art piece. Yes. And there is a bunch of different types of artists. If you have less than double the number of supported artists in your country, you can always poach an artist from a smaller. You can okay. That artist will then move to your country and they'll create art to benefit you. However, the influence of the culture of the country you invited them from will increase as well. Hmm. I guess I could see the point in doing that if there's a really good artist that you want to yoink from someone else. But in general, I probably wouldn't do that much. I gotta home grow all my artists. Um, yeah, there's different kinds of artists, architects even. I'm not gonna read through all these. We don't got time. There doesn't seem to be distinctions gameplay wise between them. Works of art. A work of art is something that an artist has created, and when the art is created, it will directly increase the cultural influence of the primary culture of the country that the artist is working in. Not all artists will necessarily live in the capital or create their art there either. Okay. Located in Westminster. Oh God. Crown. When the location is conquered through a siege or normal occupation, there's a chance for works of art to be looted or destroyed. If it's looted, it will be transferred to your capital so you can create a nice museum a few centuries later. Having some art in your country has some benefits, increasing your prestige and traditions. Traditions. Not cultural tradition. Right? Traditions, I don't know. I don't know. Probably means that. Probably means your cultural tradition, yeah. There are 4 works of art in Venice, yes. St. Mark's Basilica, yeah. Bicentennial. Oh, magnum opus is a tier, and St. Mark's Basilica is a magnum opus tier. Okay. Monthly progress to. Oh, having more art makes you more innovative. Hmm. I wonder what the opposite of innovative is. Hmm. Yes, the exact same amount of prestige and cultural tradition. Nice. Well, you don't think modern art makes you more innovative? Oh, what a silly thing to say. Oh, the Stone of Scone. What a wonderful piece of ancient art. Very innovative.
That's the whole thing with modern art. It is the most innovative.
I mean, most modern art is like I don't know. I think the Stone of Scone is less innovative than yeah your average piece of modern art. I mean, I watched Legend of Korra, and there's that dude with metal bending. He makes some hella nice modern art. Very innovative. Really, I really feel him. Yes.
I knew you would.
Promotion, conversion, and assimilation speed. So all of that is affected by level of art. Oh gosh. Gosh. You really just yeah. Having more is just really good. Unless you dislike having unless you dislike having um innovation, which I doubt is something that would be the case. I expect innovation is probably an all-around good thing. Prestige is a concept that has existed in many of our previous grand strategy games, and it's present in Caesar as well. Here it's a value between 0 and 100, as are a lot of things. It will decay to 0 if nothing else increases it. Where the decay is bigger, the higher the prestige is. Prestige in this game is heavily tied to the cultural part of the game, but it also has an impact on diplomacy and trade. That's not surprising. Fair enough. It's a little more focused than it used to be. Because in EU4, it is very broad. It comes from a lot of things and it impacts a lot of things, which kind of lends to it feeling less impactful, honestly. That's the interesting thing. Where with how EU4 makes it's something where having more of it just makes literally everything better. It feels a little less satisfying. You always have 0 or 100%. That's a great way of describing it, Rask. Yeah, in EU4, you either have just like you are doing nothing. Your prestige is just there is 0 prestige. Maybe you're at like -10 or like +5, or you're someone that has like you've stacked enough modifiers and like you're playing Lotharingia or an Italian and you've stacked enough modifiers where you just have maximum uh, and you just have maximum prestige for the whole game. So here's your bonuses to literally everything, just because you're very prestigious. Isn't that cool? But here it's very focused, and that I like that. It is specifically linked to it affects art, comes from art, it affects trade, and a little bit of diplomacy. You got your great power score, and this is where Vector. I can see now why you were talking about this system brings like echoes of Vicky 2's Prestige to your mind, where you're thinking about playing a small country that just makes a shit ton of art and focuses on grinding prestige techs to make yourself a great power just from how much art and prestige you have. Where it can remind you of that with how here you just make a shit ton of art and that will make you that'll make your country more effective as well as giving you more prestige. So it's different, but you get max prestige just by being big and a great power. Yeah, that's true. I rarely play long enough into EU4 where that becomes the case, but that's very true. You don't even need to stack that many modifiers to make it happen. Yes. So this will be very interesting to get hands on and try out. I see this is a very well received diary. I do have to go right away though, so I'm glad that this one we were able to get to the end of this one relatively quickly. I do apologize for how we have not been covering stuff as much lately. It's just been hard to get together and make stuff happen. I've still been having lots of those night shifts. It's been real tedious. But maybe there will be time to catch up on some more stuff tomorrow. I'd like to get this going. But from here, I unfortunately don't have enough time to sit here and discuss it, rambling on much more than this, though I know Vector likes that. He likes the brief. Likes it being brief like that. But for now, I have a dinner to be going to, so I apologize, folks. But I thank you all for coming, and I hope to see you next time. Probably tomorrow. I swear, even if I have to do this by myself.